Hi, I'm Mitch Feinstein, and I'm a solo artist who's presenting his latest show, The Road to Masada, Anti-Semitism and Me, on December 7th at the Zephyr Theater at 5:30 p.m. I'd love to have you come see it, but the purpose of this video is to answer the question about my creative process, because Jessica Lynn Johnson, my great director, asked me to do it. So I thought a lot about this, and I guess I have to relate to you. This is my third show, and the first one was about my relationship with my mother. The second was about my relationship with my father, and the third, obviously, is about anti-Semitism. And the first show began when I was, during the COVID lockdown, I was doing a writing class with Jessica, and every morning she would give a prompt such as, remember a time in your history when you were in your youth and you were particularly strong or weak or had a fun moment. And all of those writings evoked emotions and made me think about the emotional connections that I had with my mother and my father and how it related to my life. And I would sit down and think about things that impacted my life that I wanted to talk about, that I thought were important. And I would just sit and write them. And I would allow myself that crappy first draft and then keep working it, and stories just evolved. It just came from my soul. And so my first story, as I said, was about my relationship with my mom, and actually it was called For Love or Money, the story of my life's choice between being an artist and being a businessman. My second show was called My Father's Eyes, and it was about how my father's influence on me affected me in terms of being a good person and having good feelings about the world. When I finished the second show, I knew I wanted to write another one, but I didn't know what it would be about. And I just one day was emotionally hit with the degree of angst that the world was now facing and all the troubled areas, and how it was being reflected in a rise in anti-Semitism in our country. And so I began to do some research and read about the history of anti-Semitism and answering the question for myself, where did anti-Semitism come from? What's the basis of it? Why does anti-Semitism exist? And every time I researched an area, I would think about it. And as I began to write the play, it became structured by a visit that I took to Israel some 30 years ago with a group of friends, and the different areas we visited. And it became the structure of my show. So the writing became traveling the history of anti-Semitism, doing research on it, then allowing myself to sit and think and just write. So if I have anything to say about the creative process, it's having the goal of getting it done that drove me the most. I wanted to have something to write about. I wanted something that was meaningful and hopefully imparted knowledge and information and feelings to a wide audience. And so once the ideas in my head about what I was aiming for existed, I just sat down and began to write. And the more I wrote, the more drafts I got, and then eventually I put it together into a play. So I can't think of anything else to say, so I think that that's my answer to the question of my creative process. Thank you.